And that means we have a brand new number one song this week on Casey's Top 40, and it's by a singer who says she grew up thinking rock was wimpy until she discovered no one would take her seriously as a white Gladys Knight. She was raised in the 60s and 70s in a tough part of Brooklyn, and the music of choice among her friends was the Beatles and the Stones. But she loved the sound of rhythm and blues, the sound of Motown in Philadelphia, great acts like Aretha Franklin, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Marvin Gaye, Al Green, and the O'Jays. So it's not surprising that when she tried to launch her career, she tried for an R&B sound. But that was long before Taylor Dane and Lisa Stansfield had proven that blue-eyed soul could work as well for women as it had for men. This singer says when she took her act to small clubs in Brooklyn and Manhattan, no one was interested in her as a white Gladys Knight or Aretha. In fact, she says several times she was booed off the stage. So even though she didn't really like rock that much, she changed her style and became a rock singer. She says, quote, R&B are the songs I love to sing, the songs I love best, but I gotta be real. I gotta earn a living. She started to earn that living as lead singer of the rock band Scandal. And when she first hit the top 40 back in 1984 with the song The Warrior, her sound was straight ahead rock and roll. But now, 8 years later, her music's taken another turn. 5 weeks ago, a country rock duet she recorded hit number one on the adult contemporary chart. And this week, it's gone to number one on the pop chart as well. The brand new number one song in the USA on Casey's Top 40 is Sometimes Love Just Ain't Enough by R&B fan Patty Smyth with Don Henley.
American Top 40.
This week's Top 10 leads off with the biggest hit ever for Patty Smyth. Patty co-wrote it with Glenn Burtnick, and she told us it's a personal song, one that she could really relate to.
I think a lot of things come disguised as love, and it's not love. A need for someone, loneliness, obsession, lust, passion of the moment, whatever, and that's why the line is, it's sad when you know it's your heart you can't trust, because when you're there and you're going, well, is this love? Was that love? So it's kind of like that. I mean, I think the point of that song was saying, I'm not blaming you. And I'm not taking the blame either, but that I'm sad about it. And, I want to know if you think about it too or something. But, I mean, it was almost like emancipation. It's like I didn't feel I had to point the finger at anyone anymore. I just know that that's just the way that it is sometimes.
American Top 40.
Shadoe Stevens, Witcha. The song at number 18 is the recent big number 3 hit for Patty Smyth, along with her good friend Don Henley. Patty's been singing with Don since the 80s, and she told us how Don finally got around to returning the favor.
It is kind of a family tradition for us now. I sang on End of the Innocents, and I wrote the song like 5 years ago and played it for him, and it really moved him, because I know that he dug what I was saying. And it's funny, you don't really have that many peers or friends who you have that kind of communication with. And it moved him, and I said, well, there's a really beautiful harmony part, do you want to sing it with me? And he was like, yeah. I didn't even know that he would sing so much of it because it started out just him singing the choruses. But then we just traded off lines and it evolved. Hi, it's Patty Smyth, and that was my latest song with Don Henley on American Top 40. Sometimes Love Just Ain't Enough.
You and Don finished the year with that one at number 19.
Hi, it's Patty Smyth. This is the countdown that counts down around the world. American Top 40 with the Shadoe.
American Top 40.
Next at number 17 is Patty Smyth and No Mistakes. It's the latest hit from Patty's current album, and she told us the song says a lot about her.
I had written the song with Kevin Savagar, and then I knew what the chorus was, but I was like, I couldn't figure out what to write. And I remember saying to my manager, I was like, what did I do? What, am I crazy? I moved to California. I was born and raised in New York. Like, I hate this place. It was like that. And he said, well, just write about what you're going through. And so I did. I mean, that's kind of what happened. I just really, at that point in my life, it was like, I just wanted to let go of the past and know that I'm just doing the best that I can. And that, and the truth is that I don't believe that there are any mistakes that aren't supposed to happen. Hi, it's Patty Smyth, and that was my latest hit on AT40. How you doing, Shadoe?
Splendidly, Patty. Splendidly.
Hey, Shadoe, it's Patty Smyth. Give me some of that AT40 music news.
Why, certainly.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem. Once a week on Casey's Top 40, and you know how your favorite songs are doing on the national chart. Dropping 5 notches to number 29 is a singer who's been performing on stage since she was 15 years old. That's when she did her first gig at the famous New York City nightclub called Folk City. Now, almost 20 years later, she's a star. Here's Patty Smyth.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem on Casey's Top 40. Well, now we're up to the latest hit for Patty Smyth, a former hoodlum who says she'd still be one to this very day if her friends hadn't kept getting shot and thrown in jail. Patty grew up in a rough section of Brooklyn where gangs were a way of life, and if you weren't tough, you couldn't survive. She told us, quote, "I was real tough. It was life in the combat zone." And the way the young woman dealt with her rough neighborhood was, in her own words, by turning into a serious hoodlum and hanging out with some first-class degenerates, unquote. She says that her pals were so tough, they didn't even get into fights. People just took one look at them and headed the other way. That might have been the way she spent the rest of her life, except that as Patty's friends got older, their crimes got bigger, from petty larceny to stealing cars to far worse. Soon, these hoodlum friends were beginning to get arrested and sent off to jail, and those were the lucky ones. Others wound up getting killed. Well, one day, Patty woke up and realized her life could be snuffed out too. So she took the energy she was putting into being a hood and put it into being a singer. She formed a group called Smyth, and that led to a band called Scandal and the 1984 top 10 pop hit The Warrior. A few years ago, she left the band, and she hit number 1 in 1992 on her duet with Don Henley, Sometimes Love Just Ain't Enough. She followed that up with the top 10 smash, No Mistakes. This week, Patty has survey song number 33 on Casey's Top 40. Here's Bad Girl Turned Good, Patty Smyth with I Should Be Laughing.
Casey's Coast to Coast.